Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Michele Jutrisa and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up here in New South Wales, Australia. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please jump on. I'm just going to bring up the chat so I can see if anyone's on here. Please jump on, say hello. It's always great having people jumping on and having a chat with me while we craft. So today what I thought we would do, or over the next few weeks, is have a look at the Z Fold card, because it is a good basic card for lots of different card styles, and it's a fun fold card and it's always fun to do. So I'm teaming it up with a product that is on the online exclusives. We've had it now for probably about a month, or just under. I think it came out at the beginning of this month, and that's Painterly Pears. Now, let me just bring that up so I can show you. Hold on one second, what we're talking about. Okay, so this is Painterly Pears Sweet Collection. It's $129 for the whole collection, but of course you don't need to buy the whole lot if you don't want to. It's got a beautiful range of designer series paper, and it has, excuse me, talking too much too quick, since I might have been talking to myself all morning. Okay, so it has a lovely range of designer series paper as well as a stamp set and coordinating dies, and it has a bit of bling in the elements and some ribbon as well. So, as I said, you can purchase that whole suite there for $129, or if you only want portions of it, you can just purchase what you're after. So let me just bring me back up. Okay, so that's what we're going to be playing with today, and possibly we may even play with this over the next few weeks as well while we keep looking at a Z Fold card. Now, a Z Fold card, I've got some templates here. It might help if I pop my table screen on. There we go. So this is a basic Z Fold card. You can see where it gets a Z from. It forms a Z, and this one here is being formed so the Z part is really on one side. So you've got two different types of this. This is a landscape, and then you've also got a portrait. Again, same style with a fold over. Very, very simple to create. It's basically, this is like a book fold card. Okay, so you can create that, and then you fold the top half back on itself to that edge there. Hello, Deborah. How are you? Thanks for joining. And again, with this one, again, this is like my portrait that I usually do, except I'm treating it as a landscape. So there's my fold on the side there. So if I was going to create a fold like that and then fold it back on itself like that. Hello, Nicole. How are you? So that's your basic Z Fold card. So this is what we're going to create today, and we're going to dress this up. Now, the measurements I have got here for this one here, this is the one we're going to be using. Our base is 29.9 centimetres by 10.5, and I've scored that at 7.5 and 14.9. So that's what has given me this here. So I've scored it at 7.5, 14.9. Or the other way to do it is just make a card with your fold down the middle and then fold that section back onto there. Very, very simple. And this is really a base for a lot of fun fold cards that I'm finding, because I've been doing a lot of research in fun fold cards, and it always seems a lot of them tend to come back to a Z Fold card. So I've got a card front piece, which is 6.9 by 10, and I've got my insert piece, which is 14.4 by 10. So that's for that basic fold there as I've done it there. Now, we'll put the measurements I'm using today onto my blog, so you'll find it there. I'm going to dress this up. So I'm going to take this up a step up from this, but still using our basic Z Fold card. I've already done some of the cutting just to make this a little bit shorter video than normal rather than going for a long period of time. So I have already cut a piece of old olive. There we go. So we've got 29.9 by 10.5. I've scored it at 7.5 and 14.9, which has given me, as I said, my basic Z fold. I've then, because I'm using the designer series paper, and these are just beautiful papers. It's taken me a little while to purchase them because I don't usually work a lot with fruit, but I just couldn't resist. The colours in these papers are just stunning. And to be honest with you, I did a bit of research on Z fold cards and found a card that I really loved with a different brand of papers. And I thought, oh, I could do almost the same thing with the Z fold. It was just beautiful. So this is my piece here, which is 10 by 14.4, and we're going to adhere that on the inside of our card. So I'm going to do that now. So this would be in replace of my basic white piece on that card. Now you could do exactly the same layout using the other style of the Z fold card, the portrait one, but your measurements will just change. Well, it won't change a lot, but directions of your cuts may change a little bit, because this is a paper that you do have to watch the direction that you're cutting, because you want all your pears hanging the same way, not necessarily upside down. So we're going to pop that piece there. I've then got another piece of the designer series paper. Now these are your pears, and this one here, the pears were all hanging in one way. So this is where you really have to look at your paper and work out which way you're going to be cutting it. Now this is a reverse of that paper there. So we're going to pop this one straight on top, and this is cut at 9.7 by 14.1. So we're just putting together that basic Z fold card. And that piece is just going to be slightly smaller than our mat. As I said, I will put these measurements up on my blog. Might even see if I can try to do a printed tutorial for this one as well. So there's our inside piece. We're going to leave that for now, and we're going to decorate the front piece here, which is these pieces here. So we're going to look at this one here. So I've got another piece of designer series paper. Now this piece here, I've cut it 6.9 by my 10 centimetres. So it's about 0.5 centimetre difference in size, or 2.5 all the way around. And I'm just going to glue. I'm almost out of this glue here, so I might have to grab myself another bottle. Let's see if I can just get the last little bits. I've been struggling with this bottle now for the last 2 weeks, so let's see if I can just get the last bits of this out. And we're going to pop this one on top here with our 2.5 mil going all the way around. And basically I'm lining it up with the same piece on the bottom, our mat. Okay, hello Leslie, how are you? So there's the same basic Z fold card. So if you were going to use this particular style here, of course this piece would be in this, and you'd do the same here with this, but you'd have to cut your pear paper in a different direction, okay? So I'm going to pop all of that to one side, because now that we've got the same as what I've got on my template, we're going to start dressing this up. So what we're going to do with that, I'm going to bring this in. I've got some cardstock here, and I've cut 2 pieces from the textured note dies. This is in basic beige. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere I've got 2 dies, one bigger than the other. So this is the bigger one and the smaller one, of course. Slightly different dies in the design around the edge, but that doesn't matter. And we're going to adhere the bigger one on the front. So this is where we're going to start dressing this up. And this one here, we're going to adhere on the inside. And the reason why I've gone a smaller one, it makes it easier to hide underneath this bigger one, but also it doesn't take away from our lovely pears on the back of this. So first part we're going to do is adhere this down. So I'm going to grab a different bottle of glue here, and hopefully I've got enough glue in this one. Now we only need to put glue on half of it. So I'm only just doing it just under half because I don't want glue going in places where we don't want it. And we're not gluing it to this section here. We're only gluing it onto this folded piece. So I'm using the stripes in my paper to line this up, and I'm just eyeballing that there. Now you could, if you wanted to, turn this over and drew a line and to know that you're only putting glue on that other side. But as you can see, it's only glued to this section of my Z fold. So I'm just going to give that a really good rub. Now this one underneath here, we want this to go underneath, and it's going to get hidden underneath there. Now you could use the same size, but you'd have to be very careful to make sure the two are going to be adhered perfectly on top of one another. So this one here, I'm just again going to eyeball this, and I want it in the middle of that. Okay, so I think that looks pretty right. And when I fold that over, that is just going to get beautifully hidden away just like that. Now, if you don't have these dies, you could just cut this down. You don't have to have the decorative edge. You could just cut it down. And this is around about 11 centimetres, just under, a little bit under 11 centimetres by 7. So, and then this one here is 9.5 by 5.6. So, as I said, I will give you all those measurements. So if you don't have the dies, don't panic. You can do it with other dies or just by cutting it down with your paper trimmer. So there's our card there. So now let's do some decorating. So we're going to do a bit of stamping. So I've got a piece of my basic beige, and by the way, these were cut in basic beige. I can't remember whether I said that before. And we're going to do some stamping in the basic beige. Now, I've done a little bit of playing this morning, because I can see I'm going to be using this quite a bit, and I've been having a look at some of the images and how you can stamp them up. So the colours that I'm working on are colours that I've drawn out of this designer series paper. I've got Darling Duckling, and I've also got Old Olive. They say one of the colours in this paper is Petal Pink, but I'm actually going to the Calypso Coral to give my pink tonings. I don't know whether you can actually see that, just to give it a slightly pink tone into this. You could use, I'm trying to think, one of the softer browns. Oh, my brain is not working. I saw this used the other day. Instead of using the Calypso Coral or Petal Pink, they used Pecan Pie. So you probably could put a little bit of Pecan Pie in there if you wanted to, but I think the Calypso Coral works really well. So that's what I'm going to be following. And then my leaf up the top there, I've stamped on Old Olive. Now that's all stamped on white. So by stamping it onto my basic beige, it is going to change a little bit, but this just gives me a really good reference. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Now you can stamp the outside image because there is an outline stamp for the pear. As I said, I was having a bit of a play, and that's it there. And I just really wasn't, I did that in, I did it in Secret Sea, and I just thought, no, it's just a little bit too harsh. Probably if I was doing it again, I would do it in the pecan pie, but I'm actually going to just do it for this card without the outline because I quite like that. So we're going to leave the outline out. So I've just got like a quarter sheet here. I'm going to move all that out of the road so we don't get ink everywhere. Leave this here for my reference. Pop that up there. And I do need a foam mat because we are using solid dies, and I wanted to stamp 2 of these pairs. So I'm going to start with, I have got my Darling Duckling. I have got my Calypso Coral and my Old Olive. So I'm going to start with my Darling Duckling. I'm going to actually add the Old Olive next, and then the last colour I'm going to add is the Calypso Coral. I did get this from another demonstrator. I'm trying to think of her first name. Levin is her surname, and it looked wonderful what she was doing. So she's the one that I've taken this colour inspiration from. And I have got here some daubers, and I'm just going to add some Old Olive. Now, when you have a look at your stamp, you've got one section of it which is going to stamp up fairly light. And when you're looking at it straight up, I'm just going to pop that underneath. You might be able to see it there. The stamp is textured, so you're going to get less ink on this right-hand side and more ink and a darker image on your left. So it's the left-hand side that I want to add a bit of my Old Olive to. So I'm just going to add that a little bit around. And then I'm going to grab some Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to come a little bit in from that and just pat a bit of that in. Now, if you want more colour, you can just add more ink. And then all we're going to do is just stamp that onto our paper by using the foam mat underneath. Gives us that cushioning we need to make sure we get a good clean image. And what I've done there, I can tell you exactly what I've done wrong in that. I've talked too much and my ink has dried out. So I'm going to clean that off, because you do have to work fairly quickly with this. Because if your ink dries, then you're not going to get a nice image. So we're going to give that another try. So let's stop talking as much. We're going to ink it up in that. Add some Old Olive. A little bit of Calypso Coral. And I'm going to give this one a bit of a huff, just to make sure I'm getting a good image there. Hold that down and let's see how we go this time. That's a lot better, as you can see there. My ink wasn't as dry. So we're going to repeat that because I need 2 of them. Make sure you clean your stamp in between each one, because we don't want to bring the other colours over into our Darling Duckling. So we do want to not contaminate. Now, if you wanted to, you could make one slightly darker than the other. It's really up to you. Let's grab a little bit of Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to add a bit up there, this one. And stamp that one. You are going to get a little bit of mottleness. I'm just going to do that one more time and just see if I can get a slightly better image. It is a beautiful suite, Deborah. I've only got this yesterday, but my play with it today has just been, so much fun. Okay, that one 2 puffs. See if we get better colour, that one. We'll wait and see how that dries and settles. That ink on top is still quite wet, so we'll see how we go. But I'm actually quite happy. I know I'll get 2 good ones out of that. I mean, this one's not too bad, and I know I'm going to have one stamp overlapping the other a little bit as well. So, and if you wanted to, you could probably come back in and just add a little bit more green. This is the old olive one, and just add a little bit more sponging along that outer edge. And actually, I've just done that on the yellow side, so I might have to leave it and not play with it. Let's just do a bit up here. I think I've ruined that one now, but I can use this one. I'm quite happy. Okay, now, so let's clean this off. I was going to stamp my leaves in there, so let me have to grab another piece of basic beige. And we'll leave the old olive and we'll put the other ones away. So let me just grab another piece of basic beige. I think I've got a smaller piece in here. Scrap piece there. And again, with the leaves, you do get an outline stamp as well as a filler stamp. And I'm just going to use a filler. And for the moment, I'm going to stamp off 2 of these. And because these are the distinctive stamps, they have got that texture in it to give you the light and dark. Okay. Looks like I'm doing a still life study. Does a bit, doesn't it? Okay, let's get rid of that for the moment. And we need our cut and emboss. And I'm just going to use my mini one here. Pop my plates in underneath there. I'm almost ready to get some new plates out. I might have even said that a few weeks ago. Okay, so let me grab. I need my pear outline. I need my leaf outline, and I'm going to use this die here as well, which is also in the suite, and it cuts out a really nice leaf. So let's start by doing these. So I can get rid of some of this excess cardstock we don't need. We'll pop that on there. Need a little bit of tape on there just to hold this down. So I hope you've all had a good week. I hope it wasn't too cold for you this morning, wherever you are. It was quite cold here this morning. Very heavy frost. by not having that line around my design, I should get a much softer leaf pattern, which is just like that. And then we're going to do another one. So we've got 2 of those. And then we need 2 pairs. Use that one and that one. Cut my fingernails the other day. It's making it a little bit harder to pick things up. So let's line this one up. Put a plate on top. Remember, just stagger your plates a little bit so they cut easily. Oh, lovely. Don't you love it when family pass things on? Hello, Linny. How are you going? Guess what, Linny? I'm playing with Pears. Linny knows how I am not a fruit person when it comes to card making. I relented. I had to get it. I watched a really lovely scrapbook page done with this particular suite the other day. I'm trying to think of the lady's name who did it. She was one of the closest to my heart ladies from the US and did a beautiful job using this, and really it just sold me. It was sort of like, yeah, I had to get it. And then I saw someone also had done a Z-fold card, a non-Stampin' Up person, someone else. And I just thought, oh, that just looks so lovely. And she had used papers with fruit on them. So, of course, I had to go and buy this particular suite after that. I thought, yep. I mean, mind you, I do love the vintage feel this paper gives you, and I have done since I first saw it, with the background colours they've used on it. Now, I've got a piece of Mossy Meadow here, and I'm going to cut 2 of those branches. Now, this piece here is around about 10 by 10, and I'm just wondering, it might be a little bit too big, so I might just have to trim this down a little bit. Just to be able to get it through our trimmer, because our trimmer really only takes about 9 centimetres wide. And where did I put that die? I had it in my hand. Or did I? Oh, there it is, hiding behind that. So I want to cut out 2 of these. I'm not quite sure whether I'll be using the whole 2, but always keep it for another card. Oh, Deborah, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's hard when pets become like family members. And we're going to pop that through and get our second one. Now, as yet, I haven't decided whether I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto my card front. Well, actually, that might be a bit hard because I've already glued it down. So maybe I do have to do it as a label. Let's just move all of that out of the road. Don't need that. Do need the take a pic tool. Just give that a little bit of a gentle pop out. Okay, and that is just the most beautiful die. It's just so gorgeous. Okay, let's grab our card again. So here we are, our Z fold card. And let's start having a look at how we could place these images. So I was sort of wondering whether I would do 2 branches, and we could actually have them going in different directions. I don't need to go off in the same, but I don't want a cluster of leaves in one spot. Maybe they do need to come from the same. Let's have a little bit of a look and a little bit of a play. Can hang over a bit. I think if I do it, I'd do it like that. So it's got a bit of a V to it. Then we have got our pears. Now you also do have in this suite 2 smaller pears. And I think I've played with it over here. It just stamps up like that. I just haven't coloured it properly, but I was just playing to see what it looked like, and I decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted just to do the bigger pears. Now, do I use those or do I tuck? So if we have one going across there, one going across there, whoops, that pair going maybe the wrong direction. So we've got one going that way, one going that way. Then I have one there, and we might only need one lot of leaves. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't mind something like that. Okay, so let's have a look and see if we can put all these back where we've got them. So let's remove that one out and let's start gluing some of this down. So the first one I need to glue down is this leaf here, and I want it going across into that corner. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue, and I don't want to put too much because you know me, I like to have a little bit of movement. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the ends there, maybe a little bit there and a little bit there. Some of this is going to get tucked down, so it will be caught by other pieces. So we're going to pop that down just like that. Just going to grab one of these blocks and just pop it onto there for the second. Then, which is the better pair to go to the top? I think this one here might go to the bottom. So we want to pop this one on. Now I might just glue him flat, but I am just going to put glue in the middle. And I'm just going to angle him just that little bit over there like that. Just remove that now. And then that one there can go across there. And you could also put these on with glue dots as well. Just pop a glue dot on the leaf, because these leaves, this die does cut right through. So if you put too much glue on those leaves, it will come through. So just be very aware of that. And this one here, I'm thinking of just even bring him down a little bit. And I'm going to glue this leaf right here. Now just remember that these pears, the stem doesn't come from the very top. If I just grab this one here that I was playing around with earlier, that bit of green up here is my mistake, okay? That was just extra ink that's come off my stamp. But there's like a little smile there. And that's actually where your stem comes from. So your stem would be sitting just inside or just above that, okay? So your pear is, it's not, they don't come from up the top there or from behind, just sort of sits in that area above that little divot or little smile. So I don't have that smile on this one. I might have just stuck that down a little bit too low, just moved it up a bit. So it just sits on there just like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could get a pen or something and just mark that in. But if you use the stamp like this one here, that mark will be already in there for you. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that onto dimensionals, and that's going to go just across there a little bit. I want it to overlap. Now, I'm just sort of wondering, because I don't have, I might still put that on there. I was thinking of not using it, but I don't want to cover up too much of these leaves because they are pretty. Could even, because I have that tucked in as if there's going to be another pear from somewhere else, if I wanted to. Just let me see if I can lift this up, because I only put glue underneath. So I'm not wanting this leaf at the moment to be attached to this one. It doesn't belong to that pear. It's like there might be another pear underneath there somewhere. And then that one there can come down on top like that. Yeah, I think I might do that. Just let me remove that. Let's have a look. Just needs. The other thing is I do have another one of these, so that might even be better. So let's take that off there. Lift that up. Or have that coming from over here somewhere. Just feels like it needs a few more branches. Pear trees do have a lot of branches on it. Maybe even, where's that bit I broke off? Just going to pop a little bit of glue there, a little bit just there. Cut that down just that little bit more. I think that's going to look better than even adding that. Okay. That does look better there. Now let's grab our dimensionals. There is also a little splatter stamp that comes in this suite that you could add some splatters on your card, and I was considering doing that, but started decorating and got carried away instead. I want that sort of to come haven't pushed that down yet. I'm just sort of working out where I want that to actually sit, probably about there. And I'm going to pop another dimensional just underneath that leaf. And let's grab a mini one just to go underneath that leaf there, just to hold all that down. Because these are fairly delicate, and if we don't have enough strength underneath it, it is going to move around probably a little bit where we don't want it. Now I'm just wondering whether I can actually, this is the little splatter. I'm just wondering whether I can still fit a few of these in. So if we're going to do some little splatters, and I just want to do maybe in, there's a little scrap. This is using the Darling Duckling. Just put a few little, ideally this should have been done before we started, but let's see how we go. Just adding a few little splatters here and there. It's amazing what you can add by just playing quite lightly around. So I hope everyone has got a nice weekend planned. And I think I need just a couple, maybe just there, and just there. Got a little bit too spongy there, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll all look good. Now the only other thing I need to do is my sentiment. And I just need another scrap of the basic beige. And the sentiment I have chosen that is part of the suite is this one here. It just says, thank you. And I'm going to stamp that in Old Olive. It's a really nice font as well. Actually, I'm just going to stamp that again because I just think I might have stamped that a little bit too close to my edge because the die is a little bit bigger. I'm going to try that again. Good thing we can turn this over. Don't press down so much on the stamp. Okay then. So let's grab the die, which is also part of this, and we just want to die cut that out. It is a little bit tight in there, but it will all fit. Run this through. Fingers crossed we've got everything in the right position. Yeah, it's probably, this is the die that does come with it, but it is actually probably a little bit tight because we lose the bottom of the U and the top. I think I'm going to redo that because I'm not, that die is probably just that little bit tight for the for that sentiment. So I'm going to, and I think I'm going to change the colour and go the Mossy Meadow. Now, not long ago, re-inked this, and it's like the stamp pad is drying out very quickly. Yeah, I'm not overly. Maybe I need to buy a new stamp pad. Let me just grab a plastic spoon here and just see if I can push some of this ink around. It's like the ink has just thickened up. Plenty of ink in there. That's much better. That particular ink pad is a little bit stiffer to close, so that might have been part of the problem. Maybe I'm not closing it well enough. Give that a good clean. But I'm just going to give this a bit of a trim down. I made it slightly wider as well. That's okay because now I know that I've got the whole font in there. Really just didn't like, I don't know whether you can see that, but it's just could have been where I positioned it, but I've just lost the top of the T and the bottom of my U. So, but that is okay. So what we're going to do is I angle that a little bit there. Now this is a little trick for you. When you cut your cardstock at an angle there, and if you're using something like your guillotine or even your paper trimmer, if you line that cut edge then with the lines on your grid, on your trimmer or guillotine, you will get, and then cut it down here, you will get the same angle. So it works quite well. It's just something I noticed another demonstrator doing. I thought, well, that's a great little trick there. So don't mind passing that one on. Okay, so that's going to go about there, and I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. So just to make sure that we don't have any dimensionals showing, I'm going to use my mini ones in the back of this. Now, I could have had that extended over to my pair, but I don't really want to. And I'm going to pop 3 dimensionals because these are quite small. Now, the only thing I haven't added on here is my ribbon, or any ribbon. I'm not a big ribbon user, so I think I've got enough happening on this card without adding more ribbon. I'm just going to have that overlapping just that little bit. Unfortunately, I probably could have gone around the edges and just darkened, inked them up a little bit, because it's not real visible, but I think we can get away with that. But what I will add, these are the elements. So it's the low profile sparkling dots that come with the bundle. And I'm just going to add a couple of these, not in the yellow. So you've got Darling Duckling in this, and probably either Old Olive, but that's definitely Secret Sea. But I am going to use them probably in, whoops, we don't need that bit of plastic there, in the greener. So let's add just a couple of these here. So we might just add one there. Add another one. Maybe there. And trying to think where to the next one. Maybe just one up there. I don't want to add a huge amount. So let's just get rid of all our bits and pieces. We'll pop our dies over here so we don't lose them. Move all of these bits and pieces now while we can. And there's our finished card. So this is just a basic Z-fold card. As you can see, you've got your Z there. But, I mean, you'd be quite surprised how many cards when your fun folds and you look at it, and they're based on a Z-fold card. So next week I'm going to make another type of Z-fold card. Not quite sure yet which one, so you'll have to come back to find out. But I hope you've enjoyed that. May or may not use the same products. We'll see. I've got an idea at the moment we could. Now, if you wanted to, you could add another stamped image on here. I'm not going to. I think there's quite a bit happening on there. I love that paper. I don't want to take anything away from it, but it's a nice area to write on. So I hope you've enjoyed my card today. Thank you very much for joining me. And I will try to write up a tutorial on this one, which you can print off over the next couple of days. Otherwise, you will find this also on my blog. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next Friday at the same time, 1 o'clock. See you then. Take care. Bye for now.